The Monkey, directed by Osgood Perkins, is his second film in under a year. It is obviously following up his huge indie darling success movie Long Legs last year that captured the minds of Americans. Uh, you know, all of last summer we got to see that movie really just shower in success, which was fantastic. I really loved it, especially on a second viewing. That movie really, to me, signified horror being back and being one of the most important genres that we have. 2024 in general was that way, with stuff like Nosferatu, The Substance, Long Legs. All of these movies kind of swinging the pendulum back into horror's favor after having a rough couple of years at the start of the decade. With this new movie, I was very excited just because I really am looking forward to whatever Osgood Perkins does in the future. I realized that this movie was not going to be the same thing at all as Long Legs. Obviously, this movie's taking itself a lot less seriously. It's more of a horror comedy than anything. It's based off of a Stephen King novel. But, you know, I think his strengths in Long Legs are really what made that movie. So, I was going to be on board with whatever project he was up to next. And with The Monkey, I know a lot of people are coming out disappointed. I kind of got a little busier this weekend. I saw it on opening night, but didn't get around to recording this movie until Tuesday. So I was kind of soaking in more of the public reception to it. And I get it, okay? I understand not loving this movie. Cam saw it with me. She didn't really like it as well. And it's not one of those movies where I'm like, what? How did you not like that? What are you not seeing in this that I'm seeing? I totally understand why people can come away from this being disappointed. There are elements of it that really don't work for me, which I'll get into in a minute. But I think that The Monkey, as its own thing, is very fun. This movie is a blast. It's very short, which is nice. I think it only clocks in a little bit over 90 minutes. It moves at a very rapid pace. It is split into two sections, and those two sections feel very connected to each other. I think that the central performance from, I believe his name is Theo James, playing two brothers, was pretty good. It was a little lacking in certain places, but I do think he got what he needed to get across in a concise way. And the kills here, which are obviously the main hook of this movie, is obviously the monkey creature itself, which was terrifying, I should say. It really creeps you out every time it's on screen, and you can just tell immediately that it's going to be in your nightmares the next night. But the kills and the creativity of the horror in this movie is really what puts it above average for me. It really goes for it in that department, but it doesn't become a gore fest. It doesn't become this like schlocky, like early 2010s sci-fi film, or like sci-fi channel original film. It really puts care and thought into the violence in this movie, and the timing, the creativity of the kills, the practical effects, and digital effects used are all great in my opinion. I think they really elevate those sequences into being not like high art, but from just being like a schlocky, campy gore fest like this movie really is. But putting it above and beyond and saying, looking at those moments and be like, wow, a lot of thought was put into that, and that's really creative. That's really cool that they did that there. Oh, I would have never thought of that. That's awesome. So that was easily the most enjoyable part of the movie. It was so entertaining to figure out how this creature, or it wasn't a creature, but like how this monkey was going to cause havoc next. And it kept building, which was cool. The movie tries to comment on death a little bit, and I commend it for kind of swinging for the fences in that aspect. It never really lands on anything that seriously, or has anything that interesting to say, but I do admire those aspects being in the movie. I think the editing is really tight here. I think that visually it's great. I think Osgood Perkins really has carved out a specific look and feel for his films that work really well. It's obviously very inspired by the late 70s, kind of early 80s aesthetics, and I think that really works. I think that works perfectly for the backdrop of these more pulpy films that he is pulling from for inspiration here with The Monkey. I really just enjoy a lot of his visual motifs. The music that he uses in his films is great. I thought the music in this movie was really fun. I think the set pieces that he uses are great. A lot of shots in this movie I wasn't expecting, and they were really cool. Again, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing like, it's not even like anything really compared to Longlegs, but this movie isn't really operating on that same level. So for a fun, schlocky horror comedy, I think more effort was put into the visual department than your average one of these films. So I really like The Monkey. I think it's a great B movie experience. I think that this is a ton of fun to see in a packed crowd, which we got to see it in. I do take issue with it. It isn't that funny for a horror comedy. I was laughing a couple of times, but I never felt like that part of the movie came together. I think that, there are piecemeal moments of funny bits, but there are also moments that really land with a thud and were very clearly just used for the trailer. There's like a younger priest character that you see in the trailer that is just very cheesy and kind of hard to sit through. But then there's like a cameo at the very beginning that I'm not going to spoil. That's great and is hilarious. So, that part of the movie is very inconsistent. There's a lot of messy storytelling going on. They try to do this third act twist of who the real villain is, and I think that really fell flat on its face. I think that wasn't clever at all. The relationship between Theo James's character, the main brother, and his son really isn't there, and I think they were trying to shoehorn too much of that in when we could have gotten more fun, wacky stuff. So there's a lot of elements that kind of sag this movie down. For a 90-minute movie, there is a lot of fat to be trimmed here, and it's not necessarily like a pacing issue, it's not an editing issue, it's just that they were trying to cram in a little too much emotional moments and way too many, I don't know, way too many gags or riffs that just never ended up being funny or never really ended up materializing. There's another character that is introduced who's like a punk character, and he really doesn't do anything, and I felt his presence to be kind of obnoxious. So there's like too many of those little moments. Like they're never glaring in front of your face for more than 10 minutes, but they add up and stack onto each other to where it really does bog down what essentially is a very fun and exciting time at the movie theater. So I'm going to give The Monkey by Osgood Perkins a very light 3.5 out of 5. I did enjoy it. I thought it had a really great kinetic energy to it. I think that it had really strong visuals, and obviously the kills and stuff like that were very interesting, very fun to follow. So yeah, this is a good addition to his filmography. I don't think it's going to be lasting. I don't think obviously he's going to be remembered for this movie at all, but I think it is a nice thing to get under his belt, and it's obviously something he's very passionate about. So what did you guys think of The Monkey? Let me know in the comments section down below, and I will see you with the next review. Thank you so much for watching.